Southern Illinois. Inside Saluki Athletics, the official coaches show of Saluki Athletics. Now, here is the voice of the Salukis, Luke Martin.
Welcome back to Inside Saluki Athletics. It's the bye week, so Coach Hill gets the week off. Coach Nagy gets to fill in for him here, pitch hitting here in the leadoff spot for Saluki basketball as they are right back into it with practices this week. And Coach Nagy, we were able to catch up with the guys yesterday, and it's kind of one of those things that we've talked about a lot. The first day used to be kind of a lot of pop and circumstance, tons of media around it. You see everybody for the first time. Now it's kind of like, oh, this is the first day? It's just like the only difference is the clock that you set is just a little bit longer than those normal summer workouts.
Yeah, I think, there were positives and negatives to both. I did like, when we couldn't be with them in the summer, and there was very little we could do with them in the fall, and there was just the anticipation of practice and very excited about it, where now there's no excitement to it, there's nothing new about it, but we do get to work with them all summer. And the one thing I think it does allow us to do is have shorter practices, so we don't have to try to jam everything in. But like I say, there's positives and negatives.
And the first day, there's always going to be high energy, and there was. I thought the energy level yesterday was really good.
Yeah, it was good. Today was bad. I mean, it was just the opposite. You could, if you read the room, you could tell when guys came in the gym that there was just that feeling, and that's, it used to be that the second day there's still some excitement. Now it's already old hat, and so those are the things that we have to fight.
Look, the summertime, you spend a ton of time with your team, and we do our best to really show our fans that through our Summer Access series. But then when you get back here in August, those are important dates too, between when you arrive on campus in August to now when you get to the in-season practices. I know your focus, and these are the questions that are always the hardest for you to answer, and you tell me that every time I ask them to you. But where do you think your team has gotten better from when you got back from the summer and really had a lot of conditioning here over the last month or so?
Well, why don't you just quit asking those questions, because you already know the answers to them. I was thinking about today, we are in better shape from when they came back to school to where they are now. I mean, we've proven that just in conditioning and what the guys can sustain and how quickly they can get over being tired. And so, it's less about that. We can get them in shape playing basketball anyway. The things that really, in my opinion, that need to get cleaned up is kind of defining roles. We've kind of given them all summer with a lot of freedom in terms of if you're open, shoot it. Put it on, do what you think you can do. And as a coaching staff, our experience will tell us, yes, you can do this, or no, you can't. The stats tell a little bit of that story in terms of turnovers and shooting percentages, things like that. And so now it gets down to a little bit more of defining roles. And yes, you get to do this. No, you don't get to do that because you haven't earned that freedom in this area. And that becomes hard for the players because a lot of them like to think that they're really good at these certain things. But I think one of the best things a player can have is just a very clear understanding of who he is, what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, and playing to his strengths. And there's so many people around them that convince them that they're something they're not. And so they end up trying to do things constantly that they're not capable of doing at a high level, at an efficient level. And and they might make one great play, and then the next 4 times they throw the ball off the wall, but they remember the one great play. And so as a coaching staff, we have to the best of our ability to do it in a gentle way and not break a person and just say you're terrible at this and you can't do this and we don't ever want to see you doing this, but saying, look, this is what you're good at, and this is an area of struggle for you. And it doesn't mean you don't continue to work on it, but be good at what you're good at. And for people to be able to see that and recognize it and admit it and go, okay, that's what I'm good at. This is how I can help the team. That's the battle we're in right now with all of our guys.
How does it help you communicate that message of, again, one of the areas we spotlighted this summer, there's so much more technology now, and there's so many ways that you guys can chart, one on your own, but you also have cameras that can help chart guys what they shoot during, not just when it's 5-on-5, but in any sort of drill. How can that help you guys in terms of it's not just so much of a quote-unquote opinion coming from the coaching staff. There is actually hard data that you can show guys of, look, this is where this can fit into your game and where it can really flow and help this team improve.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff is great, but there's no technology for even when you show it to somebody, them going, yeah, you're right. There's not technology for that. And I think, again, because they have so many people in their ears outside of what's going on here that may be telling them things that we're not telling them here, that becomes a battle. And, we're just in that battle right now. And when we can get those roles defined, and we can get guys to really trust us, because, and I say it all the time, we're not perfect, but there's a really good chance we know more than you. We've been doing this longer. We know what it takes to win, and we need you to trust us, even if you may not fully see it, but go, you know what, I'm going to trust Coach. I think he has my best in mind. He has the team's best in mind. That's what we're asking him to do.
Tell you what, Coach Nagy, one of the guys who has really stood out early, and especially in conditioning, was really eye-popping to me, was Jaheim Weber. And over the summer, had to miss some time. And most of the time, when you see guys miss valuable weeks, they can typically just shut down and really mail it in. That dude went the opposite way. Like, what has stood out about him and how he finished your summer? And it looks like he's really carried it over, and almost, whatever you want to say, the flip of the switch, he has really carried some positive momentum for you into your practices.
Yeah, and I would say, particularly with somebody at his size, if they have to miss 4 weeks, it is really a struggle to get back in shape. You have an athletic guard, say a Jalen Haynes, it's not going to take him very long. I mean, that's just the way it works. And I'm not saying James not athletic, because I think he is pretty athletic, but he's just carrying more weight. And I was really shocked by how quickly he came back after those 4 weeks off in the middle of the summer. And I just sarcastically said, maybe you need to take 4 more weeks off. He looked really good, and from that time, he's done a good job, because in those 4 weeks they didn't allow him to do anything in terms of the cardio, and so that was not easy. But and I think just in terms of the way he sees himself and understands the game better, he's been really good. He's been really physical. And, we're just very excited about where he's headed. You mentioned the physicality, embracing the physicality for him, but another area that Coach Gibbs was very emphatic about, be yourself on the floor and be an emotional guy. Have you seen him play in a positive way and using his emotion along with that physicality? Yeah. I mean, even in practice today, he really got after people for not throwing the ball. I mean, he's wanting the ball down there. And he's demanding it, and I like that. I want that from him. I want post players that want the ball and will get after people for not throwing it to him. He hasn't done that really an entire year, and now he's starting to see himself differently. Generally guys play the way they see themselves, and he has embraced it, and that's good, because he's big, and if he'll be physical, he's going to be hard to handle. Well, it's one of those areas you talk about the challenges of, hey, great emotion day one, did not get the carryover you wanted day two. As you really get in the regimen of day-to-day, Coach Nagy, what are the biggest things that you preach with your team right now of, yes, trying to stack those really good days that you've had, and know when you start to go a little bit longer, you guys don't waste your time. When you're out there for the minutes that you are doing something at all times. I think one of the things that's more frustrating to me right now is even today, we're going back and rehashing things that we went over maybe the first day. And, we're still trying to teach, but at some point, if you're not catching on, we have to move on, and those guys are going to get left behind. We just can't. It's not the no child left behind mentality at this point. I mean, if you're not catching on, we have to move on, and I think that's hardest for the younger guys, the guys that are less experienced, that haven't been in college, and so I think that's what some of those guys are struggling with, but when you're off the floor, when you're doing film work with the coaches, if you have questions, you have to ask those things. You can't come in and it looks like you don't know what's going on at this point. We're introducing very few new drills. We don't have a lot of time at this point just to teach. We've really spent, you look the last 13, 14, 15 weeks, that's what we've spent doing, a lot of the teaching, and it's time to play. And the players want to play.
Yeah.
But, some of them are wanting to run when they're not ready to crawl. And we don't have time to teach guys to crawl anymore. We've got some experienced guys that are ready to play and want to play and don't just want to go through the drudgery of every drill. And but you struggle with that because there are some drills you need to do, but then the guys just play the drills instead of play basketball.
Yeah.
And so I got frustrated with that today. And so but everybody's dealing with the same things. And trying to win and trying to be great and be detailed and all those things is not a lot of fun all the time. Winning's fun, but it's hard to win, and you have to prepare that way. And preparing to win is not just going to be a joy all the time.
You talk about the wanting to, in terms of your guys, sometimes they may play the drill that you're necessarily going through, and they've learned that drill because you guys do it quite a bit. Can you speak to the evolution of how maybe your practices over the years have evolved to, you guys do spend some time, playing 5-on-5, not some scripted things, to where when you play 5-on-5, it really allows a lot of things to not look as smooth, and you got to work through some of those kinks that show up in 5-on-5. How your practices, you try to stay up to where, this is where we don't want our guys to just play the drill the whole time. You want to get more things accomplished than you can.
Yeah, but we have to be to the point where we're not stopping it all the time and talking.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to keep that really within about a 90-minute period. But it's a hard 90 minutes. There's very little rest. There's very little time to stop, and we do some of that. We don't time everything, but a lot of the stuff we keep on time. And if you don't know what you're doing, it really becomes a problem for you. But then it affects the rest of our team when it's a problem for you. And so, but that's where they have to get with their film coaches and see those things because we just, like I said, we just don't have the time to stop and teach now. We have several guys that are ready to go and don't need those small teaching points anymore.
You think about the tangible things that you can really see your team improve on, and Damian Mayo was talking about this a couple weeks ago. When you guys started stations last year, I think the team in terms of punishment had maybe 55 and 30s or somewhere around that.
It's not punishment. It's discipline.
The discipline, there we go.
I tell the team all the time, punishment would be for me to make me feel good to watch you suffer.
Yeah.
Where discipline is, we do it because we care about you.
Yes, no doubt. Discipline. There you. I think it was maybe around 55 and 30s. The first time this year was maybe cut in half, around 25. So there are ways, and I bring that up because there are ways, Coach Nagy, you can see, all right, this group is maybe progressing at a really good clip.
Well, but that is just that way because we have 6 guys that are back from last year's team that had already prepared the guys for this is what's coming. Last year they had no idea what was coming. And it doesn't matter what you tell them, none of them had experienced it. We'd had 6 guys this year that had experienced it and were able to tell them, it's not what you think. This is much more difficult than you think. And by the end, we only had, on Friday, going through it 5 times, we only had 5 extra sprints to run, which is excellent. It's one of the best we've ever had. Now,
is Justin Inslee going to have to make up his 5 and 30s? Because I was there when he was trying to help Rollins finish his stations. It didn't look like he quite finished his suicides on time.
Well, we'll probably make him do it, but he's not going to be able to do it today because he's very sore, very sore.
No question. Well, before I get you out of here, I wanted to wait till the very end because you were talking about this the other day with your team of how your wife, Jamie, knew when you got home the other night that you lost in the wiffle ball game. And you said, guys, I'm still mad about it.
I did.
When you got to the first day. So let me ask you about it. Was it like cinema, as Drew Steffi likes to describe, of how fun it was?
It was fun. I mean, they had fun. I mean, the people that win have fun. And we all had fun. And but, I don't – it hasn't been very often that I've been on a team that's lost that wiffle ball game. Probably in 31 years, I would bet 5 times we've lost that game. And, it looked like we had it in the bag, we had 2 outs with nobody on in the bottom of in the top of the ninth, and they got a guy on, and got another guy on, then a home run, and then the body language and everything changed. I mean, we've seen this in playoff baseball.
Yes.
So it was very hard for me to swallow, and like it's hard for me to have fun unless I win. And the players knew. I mean, they knew, and of course they enjoyed it even more, knowing how much it bothered me.
Yes. Well, and of course, Coach Hawk got a lot of ribbing for apparently not being able to haul in what would have been, I guess, the clinching out of the game if he could have got both of his hands.
Yeah, it wasn't the clinching out.
Okay.
But it was a big out, and unfortunately it hit him in the hands and bounced over the fence for a home run. And but he played great out there.
Yes.
He did. That was just, obviously that was a big play in the game.
Yes, he also mentioned, hey, there were guys in front of him that there was a few of those errors that don't happen. His play's not as big of a deal.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the way it always is in every game.
No question. Coach, we appreciate you stopping by. I know it's going to be exciting. Actually, before I let you go, a great opportunity for the Saluki students to come watch you guys practice upcoming here in just a couple of weeks. A really great opportunity to embrace the students coming in and seeing your team practice at Davies Gym.
Yeah, and we'll probably scrimmage that night, but yeah, it'll be students only. And Penny and I will be out tomorrow on campus trying to drum up some support and taking some people to class and things like that. So we'll probably do that a couple days before. But yeah, we would hope to be able to fill that up. Davies is not a huge gym. If we could get 500 students over there, it'd be great.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be Wednesday, October 1st. And students, you'll want to see Penny tomorrow with Coach Nagy, and you want to see Coach too. I mean, Penny's good to see, but you're also fun to see too.
But I don't light up the room like Penny does.
I won't argue with you there. Head Coach Scott Nagy, taking time to join us. We're going to take a time out here on Inside Saluki Athletics. When we come back, Head Coach Lance Rhodes of Saluki Baseball previews his fall upcoming. This is Inside Saluki Athletics. Day one of Saluki basketball practice officially underway. Drew Steffi, one of the returners, joins us here to recap day one. Man, it sure feels like day one, right? You guys haven't been practicing in here at all here over the summer, the last couple of weeks. How do you kind of balance where, yes, it is official day one of practice. You guys went a little bit longer than normal, but you guys have been hard at work for a long time.
No, we've been hard at work for a while, so I mean, it's not really a difference. But there was a little extra energy just because it's day one, and people want to win. I love the competitiveness today, so it was great.
Even though you go longer today, now you're really in season. It looks, at least to me, you guys have improved a lot in the time that you've had, even since the summer. Where do you feel this group has gotten better over the last month and a half?
Yeah, just knowing personnel and really just putting in that hard work, man. We work hard, really hard. So I love that team for this and just making connections on and off the court, and we're going to keep going.
Best part is you guys as returners, I feel, are at the head of that. You can see all of you guys, and we talked about that in the summer, but even more so now. What do you really credit that to, where you as one of the main returners that seems all of you have really raised your game?
Yeah, I mean, just knowing what it takes in this league and takes to play at this level. I mean, we didn't have the season we wanted at all last year, and we didn't want to go through that again. So our returners, we've been on it, been working for a while, and when all the new guys came, we picked them up, and they're ready to go too.
All right, Q, day one, you guys are now in season mode. You've been in here working a lot throughout the summer and, of course, early fall. Now you finally get to this point. What is maybe the new energy like when you know you're finally in season?
It is very good, very competitive. First day, very active, very ready to get in here, get ready to compete and just be together.
When you got here in the summer, of course, you were brand new. Now you can sense your voice is heard more, you are seen more, and that's kind of normal when you come into a program. Where would you, I guess the word would be, rate your comfortability level just with your teammates within the program, where you feel like your voice can be heard and be a leader of this team?
I say 10 out of 10. I'm just here to be a leader, be confident, be a role model, or be a leader for the guys, and just talk to them, just make sure they're comfortable in every situation.
Where would you say you've grown the most since you got here in June?
I would say just defensively. That's what I'm focusing on, defensively, to getting through ball screens, help, just talking and just being active.
when you think of your teammates, where would you say this group as a whole has improved? Not just since the summer. We know you guys have gotten better since June, but really within the last month and a half since you guys got back from summer break.
Very big improvement, very big improvement. Just most importantly, just getting to know each other, getting to feel each other, what we do best, what's our strengths, what's our weaknesses, and just talking, just being together, honestly.
This Prince of League Bay joins us here to recap day one in season, man. How's it feel for the veteran? You've been used to day ones. How would you describe this day one for you, being your last?
There's a lot of different things. I'm just telling myself, mainly when I'm like in stretching, this is the last one you get to do this, and obviously on day ones everyone has a lot of energy, so I just try to fall in line with it, get caught up in the day, the practice, and of course just enjoy it. So it's been great.
Coaches really believe you have such a high ceiling, Prince. One, because you've shown it in your college career, but when you get here, Coach Nagy's like, man, Prince could be a really high-level defender. It appears in practice it's starting to click a little bit there for you. Do you feel it's clicking, and where do you feel the defensive side can be a really big strength for you this year?
I have a lot of expectations, from the coaches, but also for myself, defensively, just because of my past experiences playing different kind of positions from the guard to the, the five-man spot. So just being able to guard 1 through 5 gives me a lot of, versatility outside. So, the summer it was a lot of pressure on our defense as a team, and I feel like it helped me as an individual just to grow in that aspect. So I know once the days start to stack up, people really see like what I can do on the floor,
We cover you guys a lot in the summer, but then you get that little bit of break before school, and then you're right back at it. Where has this group gotten better since you got back on campus in August, and then now that the in-season practices have officially started?
I'll definitely say 2 things. One is camaraderie, being together, being connected. I know like a couple of guys said it earlier, just we enjoy each other's presence and it shows on the court. And I feel like right now we're also getting better at transitioning. What I mean by that is like, transitioning from drill to drill, transitioning from a bad call to, the next play, and just playing the way coach wants to, which is fast. And the only way you can do that is if you have that next play mentality. So I feel like those are 2 areas we've been getting great at.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Saluki Athletics. Yeah, we had Coach Nagy, his first time in here in the Wells Production Studio. Now we get Coach Rhodes as he's going through his fall right now for Saluki Baseball. They'll have some fall ball games upcoming, Itchy Jones Celebration of Life. It's going to be a busy fall for this guy, as it already is right now. Coach Rhodes, thanks for stopping by, brother. It's good to see you.
Yeah, this place looks good. I'm glad to be back, and feels like you're doing something with your season when you're back in here talking to you. So I'm happy to be on.
No, absolutely. For those that have watched our interviews for years, you asked for the green chair. You typically would be in my office, but we've upgraded a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
The green chair, it had so much action. The thing was cushiony.
Yes.
You could almost fall asleep in that thing. So
Yes.
I missed that.
Man, well, as everyone knows, as you kind of said, hey, when we get a chance to talk, it always means that something's moving around with your program, which it really is at all times of the year. But now as you really start to ramp up your fall, we were just talking about in the middle of the break, you no doubt have some scrimmages, inter-squad scrimmages that are going on. There's got to be just some really good enthusiasm that now you're back at it. You've got everybody, and it obviously helps when you got the majority of your guys that can scrimmage.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're trying to evaluate with scrimmaging going on. Also, you got days in the week where you're just teaching and, repetition as well. But trying to learn the game to be played the way that our coaching staff believes it needs to be played in order to win games. We've got returners back that have a year under their belt with us or 2 years under the belt with us. But then we've also got, half our team that's coming from other programs, junior college, transfers from 4-year programs. And everybody explains drills differently. Everybody, verbally has different calls on certain plays. So just trying to get everybody on the same page. And, that's what the fall is all about. And the good thing is we get to see what we've accomplished throughout the fall practice segment at the end of our fall whenever we get 2 outside games against outside competition, and kind of see how well we've progressed throughout the fall and take us into the back half of that where we go back into individuals again.
When I ask a question like this, it almost kind of implies that you haven't had guys like this, but you've always had really good dudes in your dugout and have been guys that have been easy to cheer for, easy to interview, great to interview because they have tremendous personalities. But the chemistry piece is always so important as you get to this part of the year. Yes, there's a lot of teaching going on, but the guys are in the weight room. The guys are around each other constantly early in the mornings. How have you been encouraged by how they are continuing to build each other, continue to come together as a group, as individuals?
Yeah, it's always, that first 2 weeks are probably that awkwardness where you're trying to fill each other out. You're trying to just learn names and things like that. And, depending on the personality of the individuals, sometimes you get those kids that are kind of quietly walking around the field. You get the ones that are willing to go up and shake somebody's hand and say, hey, and, we definitely don't want to change anybody's personality. We want them to be who they are. But it's nice that, a month in now, you got guys that are joking with each other on the field, that are kind of picking on each other at the field, and they're starting to get to know each other well at that point whenever you see those things happening. And that communication, that team togetherness, that will just continue to get better as the fall goes on, which I think helps lead to the performance in the spring that we want, is a together team that's pulling on the same rope in the same direction, and it starts with building those relationships early in the fall.
As you look at the new additions that you're able to bring in, again, it's very small sample size right now in what you've seen on the field, but you knew areas of improvement, no doubt, were going to be defensively and pitching. What has you right now like, yeah, I think we can trend the right direction and get to the level that we want to be ultimately come the spring?
Yeah, I'm extremely pleased with everything that we do right now. We're looking down the road and saying, I think these guys could fit into this situation, that situation, et cetera. Obviously that changes, almost weekly now. It's definitely going to change by the time that we get into the spring. But, when I look at our pitching staff, I believe that at this moment we could put a rotation out there that is going to be as strong as any rotation that we've been able to put together since I've been here. A lot of that's going to be dependent on those same bodies being healthy whenever the spring rolls around. Hopefully we can do a good job of keeping these guys healthy and for them to be ready to pitch in the spring. And then defensively, I do think that we can be much improved on the defensive side of it. We just got to find a way now to put that pitching, put that defensive lineup out there and still be able to score runs. And it's not going to look the same as we did last year. Whenever you hit 113 home runs as a group, it just doesn't happen very often. We might not do that. I hope we come close, but we might not. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of home runs, and so that's where, as a coach and as a coaching staff, and especially myself, sometimes you get caught up in looking at somebody that's new, and you're like, man, that guy can't hit 24 home runs. Well, not many people are going to do that, and so we just need them to be the best version of themselves, and hopefully throughout the balance of, maybe we improve pitching, we improve the defense, we have a really good offense, and maybe that results in a few more wins rather than how we played it last year where we were just trying to outscore everybody.
Yeah, and one of the biggest additions that you made to your staff was Ryan McLaren, pitching coach, coming in. We haven't had time to officially talk about him in an on-air capacity, able to meet him over the summer. Great dude, and I think, again, a guy that's going to fit in well from a culture standpoint within your staff, but from a baseball standpoint in terms of what you want in this program, what is he bringing that, again, you are very excited about, that he can really impact the talented arms that you've brought in and now can really just raise that level?
I think it's a good blend of where he can really love on a guy, but he can also, he can, hey, it's time to get to work and there's no messing around. We're going to get our stuff in. And he's got expectations that you're going to meet. And if those expectations aren't met, there's going to be a conversation about that. And I just think there's a lot of toughness there, but there's also a lot of love in there too. And I think that's exactly what we were hoping to get in this new role here. And not that we didn't have, not that Tree wasn't doing a great job. Everybody you bring in, whenever you know you're going to have a coaching change, you kind of look at it and what are we missing from the coaching staff and what person do we need to bring in to balance out our personalities and things like that. And I think he's done a phenomenal job from just his background with what he's done, what he's had to go through as a player with injuries, being a military guy, things like that can bring some perspective to knowing how to be sensitive whenever a pitcher is rehabbing, to know, the toughness that you need to be able to face some adversity. And then he's also very knowledgeable in just the actual development of pitching. And so when you put all those things together, it's been a really nice combination.
Look, there is a good chunk of your team that Saluki fans do know that are coming back. Out of those guys who are back, who we have seen wear the Saluki uniform and play in the Missouri Valley, who are you kind of looking at this fall of like, yeah, I want to see continued development? I mean, all the guys you want to see development in, but who are guys that you're like, man, I could tell that they've made some strides over the summer and even here in the early fall, even though the sample size is still very small.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at a guy like Tim Semay, who last year was playing through a lot of injuries and just, he never came out of the lineup. You got to respect a guy like that. A lot of people maybe have not known the extent of him being hurt, and they just thought he was fine because he was on the field every single day. But the fact that he toughed through that, he's came back and I told him a couple weeks ago, man, I was like, I'm just extremely proud of your leadership skills, that you're going outside of the box, you're talking to everybody, you're engaged. So he's been doing a phenomenal job, and you need that out of a middle infielder. Your shortstop, you need him to be your leader, and we're going to count on guys like Caleb Hall, Mason Swalbach, all those guys who, Petro, that, were here a year ago, because, the people that we did lose, we lost a lot of production from just a few people. The nice thing is we potentially could have 5 or even 6 sometimes returners in our lineup from a year ago. Now, the 3 people that we left, I mean, there's a lot of production within those 3 people. But we've got quality guys that we brought in, and it'll be a little bit of a transition. Some of those guys, the skill set is just different than what we lost, and that's okay. But if we maximize those skill sets, I still think we have a chance to score a lot of runs and, again, improve our defense dramatically.
To continue the conversation with a guy like Tim Semay, I think everyone can see there is a lot of talent that he has, and the potential for him is extremely high. And I can even think of Coach Hill, even dating back to last year, talking about, man, when DJ Williams is healthy, when this dude's out in the field, we're a different team. And no doubt we're finding that out this year at a very high clip. And he was not bashful about it going into the year. He said, Luke, DJ can be the best player in the country. I'm not saying you're going to say Tim Semay is going to be the best player in the country, but is he a guy that can be a Valley Player of the Year, where he can be in that category, be talked about that way? Because there were no doubt stretches last year. I felt Coach Rhodes that he showed like, man, there is no doubt that type of an ability in him.
Yeah, I mean, when you play a premium position like he plays, it's going to catch the eye of other coaches. So typically when you're a Player of the Year, you've either just put up just an unreal offensive season, or you play high-level offense at a premium position. And I think that, when he hopefully is healthy for an extended period of our season next year, him being able to get to some more balls at shortstop, him being able, to leg out doubles, to score from first base. I think his game, even though it was really good last year and the numbers were really good, I think it'll look better just because it's not going to look like somebody that is playing hurt out there on the field. And hopefully that production can go up even more too as well. But I definitely think he could. I think, a guy like Caleb Hall could, be in that conversation too. If, you look back at Caleb's year last year, I mean, the numbers were super impressive. And, he went, I think, a month or something like that without playing with the broken, toe. And
came back red hot.
Yeah. So, you put him in there for a full 56-game season. There's a lot of production there. So, and again, we've got new guys too that hopefully could step in there and potentially be that. But I definitely think we've got some guys on our roster that could fight for that opportunity.
Look, it's really hard to answer this question in September, but out of some of the new guys, who are some names that you think we should get acclimated with? And I'm sure there's going to be many that are going to earn that right here over the next month or so, 2 months, before you guys ultimately kind of shut it down there for the winter and then come back in January.
Yeah, you hate to
Yeah.
you hate to say just a few names
I know.
and then leave some out.
I love doing that to you, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, it's been just an impressive group of everybody we brought in has a background of success. We didn't bring in anybody that we're taking a chance on that we're hoping to just strike gold with. So, there's been some guys that even though they had success at lower levels, whether that's Division III, NAIA, junior college, they've got to understand that the players that they played against at that level, a lot of those guys have transferred up. They're playing against really a lot of the same competition. As long as they don't make the Division I level more than it is in their minds, there's no reason why their physical ability can't go out and be successful at our level. And the good thing is we just started inter squads, so a lot of these guys are starting to figure that out right now, that, hey, it's not much different than what I've played my whole life. And if you give me about a month, let's get back on the show and let's talk about some of those guys.
Absolutely, we can do that. I'll let you escape the question. I'm not going to continue to hammer it in on you. Again, around homecoming, I believe October 25th will be the celebration of life for Itchy Jones, and obviously, Coach Jones, just a huge part of this program, always will be, continue to be. It's a busy weekend. It's homecoming. There's so many things that go on, but I know for a lot of alums will be back, a lot of former players, folks that, of course, Itchy has impacted, and a chance for your current guys, too, to really see his impact up close. I want to say it will be a fun weekend to honor Itchy. I know everyone wishes Itchy was still here in terms of the celebration of life, but I know how impactful Sharon Lipes was with Saluki Football before the start of the season. I know it's going to be really impactful for you and your program.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, there's going to be just a lot of buzz around the campus. I mean, with what our football program's doing right now, hopefully we can continue that, and it just energizes the weekend right from the start, knowing that we got a big-time football game to follow up. And then before that, having that celebration at our field. And a lot of our guys, they see the picture out on the wall with Itch, but, a lot of our new guys are very probably unfamiliar with his impact on our baseball program here. So it'll be a good opportunity for them to fully understand what all he did for our program. And it'll also be an opportunity, too, where we've scheduled a game the night before on the 24th. And we did that hoping to, get some guys back early, kind of kick off that homecoming weekend. And, I think it could be a pretty cool fall game with hopefully the Hill, got some energy on it and everybody excited for homecoming Saturday. And just kind of make it a full weekend of sports, around our campus. But we're excited. We're happy that we'll be able to get, the family back and be able to celebrate that on homecoming Saturday.
I do want to say, Coach Rhodes, I could go for some Coach Rhodes grilling again here very soon.
Yeah,
so,
hey, a lot of that was my wife, but
don't pass too much of the credit off. No, Coach, we definitely appreciate the time. Always great to catch up with you, and I know it's always a busy time of year for you guys, but look forward to making my way out, and we'll have you on again here before we officially wrap up the fall.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, and just what a great time. I mean, basketball getting kicked off.
Yeah.
All the fall sports doing what they're doing between everybody. I mean, it's been a fun start to the fall, and it always feels good when you win. And,
no question.
I hope that we can just build off each other and, continue into the winter sports, feeding off this energy. And by the time it gets to us in the spring, it's just kind of a big snowball built up, and we can kind of finish it off.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Coach Rhodes. Once again, that was Lance Rhodes for Saluki Baseball. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, it's time to head over to Charlotte West Stadium. Coach Jen Sewell joins us. This is Inside Saluki Athletics.
Hi, my name's Dior. I play for SIU women's soccer team and I'm a forward. I'm from London, southwest London, or Wimbledon specifically, and for me it means there's a lot of diversity in culture because there's so many different communities and I feel like I've got a good mix of all of them. My Year 2 teacher at my primary school, she kind of put the ball in my hands because she saw me playing around in the playground with the boys, and we would race up and down the playground and I would be one of the fastest girls, or I would beat them. And she introduced me to a sports club, a multi-sports club, free of charge, and I started playing football from there. And I always could see, I guess, the potential in myself. I always believed in myself that I could make it one day. Just a belief in myself that I can continue improving and continue getting better each day. I play for myself and for my mum, so I hope to give her a better future. And I play for the people who have always believed in me and believed in the potential that I have. I want to prove them right. Wearing the SIU jersey means honouring the badge. I want to just give it my 100%. Every match, every training session, I just want to help the program build. I define success as like this really good feeling inside my stomach, just like the little wins. I never thought I'd be able to come to a school like this. Meeting Coach Orr through one of my old teammates was like absolutely strangest occurrence ever. Like I never knew I could be here today. When I leave SIU, my hopes is to become a better footballer, and probably I want to be able to play at a professional level. I have the opportunity to play at a professional level. I want to be able to come out with a degree and to be able to have something I can fall back on in case football doesn't work out.
This is Inside Saluki Athletics, live Saluki Athletics. Welcome back into the Wells Production Studio. Head coach Jen Sewell stopping on by. It's been a busy fall already for Saluki softball. 2 weekends down now? Two. Yeah. That's why you're smiling, right? 2 weekends down already for your program.
September is traditionally our month that just, it's October. We didn't see September. So,
man, well, I know our fans, one, they've been able to get out there, see your team already. Mm-hmm. Look, there's always just that good aura, right? I mean, football having a great fall to this point. You and Lance and your teams are now getting back after it. Coach Nagy and Coach Bond White and their teams, like, I know you're always ready to compete in your seasons, but there's always something about the start of the year when you're starting to have success, it feels like everybody can really kind of start to feel it.
Yeah, I think just getting back on campus, right? Football is the atmosphere, and then you had soccer and volleyball get off to great starts. Yeah. So it's felt good around here, and our kids are, they allow us the 8 games, and I know they've given NCAA baseball some games back now. So there's something to have a temperature for. So it's been nice.
One of the things, too, that I've really enjoyed just seeing the interactions, not just with you, but your staff, it's great chemistry. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Lauren, she obviously brings tons of energy, too. Mia, too, who's just really fit in right in with you guys. How has the addition of Mia been? And just as you've gone through the fall now, you've had a couple weekends to mimic your game situation. Mm-hmm. How has that communication gone as a staff?
Yeah, I think Mia jumped in quick, and that's what I wanted her to do. I think she has a lot to offer. She's not that fresh off her playing career, which is fantastic, but she's in that coaching mode where, you're in your, mid to late 20s and you still got the great, we're not so old and grumpy about coaching and kids these days, And I like Mia just jumping in. And I told her, I said, that's your job. Just jump in and do it. And she's a great infield coach. She helps me out a ton with hitting. Anytime you can get a different perspective, you're going to be better off in your coaching staff. And then I don't know that you can tame Lauren Watts. Like, she's going to bring the noise. So you can probably hear it if you office right next to us, which you do. But it's funny how, that energy picks up in the stadium as well. And I think the kids enjoy. I notice them stopping by. I notice them coming into Mia's office and to Lauren's office. And I'm not the principal's office, so they can do a hard right or a hard left if they need to. So.
When you think of your team, as you were able to obviously compose it in the off season, you find out what you need to add. Now you've had, again, the 2 weekends to really at least see what it can appear to be on the softball diamond. What do you like, Coach Sewell, about those additions that you made, and have you seen it already through just 2 weekends?
Yeah, I think there's good depth. I think there's good depth in a couple spots in the infield for sure, the most depth and talent we've had in a long time. I like the freshman classes jumped right in. The 2 freshmen are throwing great. The outfielder and the infielder are playing a lot and have jumped in great. And then the addition of the transfers, I think people want to see who's the shortstop and people want to see who's the catcher. And Sid Potter came out the other day and hit 2 absolute nukes over the wall that I don't think they got above 30 feet. And Jordan Stewart, I think, is leading us in batting average right now, and then Brookley Foster is not far behind. So those are some kids that are going to be there. And then Emily Williams is off to a hot start again. So
to have her back, everyone, again, you can focus on what you don't have, but, man, it's more important on what you do have coming back. And Emily, just a tremendous person to have within your clubhouse. But can you just really add more to it of how much better she can be? I mean, I know as coaches you're always looking for that growth, but – like for her, she played at an extremely high level last year.
Yep.
And to think that there's even a higher level, I think should probably scare a lot of people.
Well, and I think we heard from some coaches that was the hitter in our lineup they were trying to avoid. And Emily is healthier than she was last year. She was close. I would say she was within 80-85% at times. But she's really healthy and moving well this year. And I think she's settled in over there on that corner. And then she doesn't have to come out and play defense every game. She can hit a little bit and take a break off her legs. But I think there's there's going to be Sid Potter, there's going to be a bunch of Delaney Osborne, there's going to be a bunch of power returning, Haley Wilkerson getting healthy, all of those things. Sage Grand was playing with one arm at some points last year and could have been a first teamer. We get Malia Blomenkamp back, who was hitting almost 400 the time she went down. I thought she was a first teamer, so I think there's a ton of competition everywhere. I want to see us really duke it out and not give in to each other and say, we had that conversation the other day, the person next to you is the one that's going to make you better. So go after each other in a friendly teammate sort of way, and I want to see our depth get even better because we needed it last year, we'll need it again this year.
Water, and as you alluded to, look, everyone would love to say, it's going to be a breeze of a year. There's going to be no injury bug. Like you're never going to have to shift your lineup. Those things always change. When you think of, hey, this is what my lineup card's going to look like, what are some areas of it that you can see as a challenge in a good way of like, man, this team's making it really hard on me because there's a lot of names that I could put in this spot.
Yeah, there's 2 places. I think pitching, as deep as it's ever been, there's probably – those 2 freshmen are as good as we've been, but Delgado and then the 2 returners are also good, and the addition of Kaylin Grammer from St. Charles. Like, that kid came over from a community college situation, is ready to go in the Division I situation, which is getting rare and rare. And I think the other problem that we're going to have, which is a good problem, is getting all our hitters into the lineup. So, and defensively, every time we sub, we're not losing something defensively. We're actually gaining something. So I think our job is going to be get everybody at bats through a very tough, once again, 4 straight weeks of preseason where we're going to see, right now the way it's lining up, the Big Ten's back on, the SEC's back on our schedule. There's some pretty legitimate squads.
Everyone knows because of what your program has accomplished in terms of the expectation level. And I think even your ladies that come into the program, your young women, they already know. It's not much that you really have to do and get up in front of and speak.
Yeah.
But in terms of how you conduct your business each and every day, what do you try to do and how you set up and how you conduct things that imply those expectations without really having to just flat out say it?
Yeah, I think the one thing you have to convince players of in this program is it's not a T-shirt that you put on. You don't put that logo on and then magic happens. It is a hard work program. it's a hard hat, blue collar program. And I tell them it may look fancy on the outside, but it's not fancy on the inside. It's very blue collar. So we're going to go to work. And I think where we outshine people, and I tell this to people all the time, and they kind of look at me like, well, that can't be it. But we're just going to pay attention to the details more than anybody else. And we're going to have our work done, and we're going to have all our bases covered. No pun intended. But
Yeah.
we are going to cover everything. And we're very strict on how that practice runs, and we get a lot of things done in a practice. And we practice very game-like. And I've heard from different alums, like, I just didn't realize until I got out of the program and went to other programs how much we were getting done in this program on a day-to-day basis.
What do you take most pride in that fact of it's not just necessarily that, yes, the wins, et cetera, but a lot of that comes because of it's the preparation that you go throughout. Like, is there a part of the specifics of the preparation that you really think, yeah, I'm really glad I was able to put my thumbprint on that, and not to just make it out to be about you, but that you and your staff are like, this is our thumbprint and what we really want to spend time on?
Yeah, I think we know what we're doing in each philosophy. This is our defensive philosophy. We can say it. We can say it in pitching, and we can say it in hitting. So we're never confused on where we're headed. So there's a very specific development plan that happens in all three phases of the game. But I think, too, our stamp is on, we're going to sort of grit you, out defend you, out hustle you, out kind of mindset you. When you're cold, we're not cold. When you're hot, we're not hot. When you're tired, we're just not going to be tired.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what it takes at this point, where you can't necessarily recruit the top 10 ranked kids. You've got to figure out a way that's like, what is going to hang in there in the seventh inning? And I think that's just us having a discussion about it. Like, hey, this is going to be really tough, and we just got to be tougher than what we're dealing with.
Even though the games, the scores at times may not look like they're extremely close or competitive, which is the goal in the teams that you play, but what do you really even get out more of it, even when maybe the scores are a little lopsided? It's still going out there, it's still competing, and it's still great opportunities for everybody on your roster to play.
Yeah, I think right now, I always tell them, like, that right now, this is not a tryout for me. You're not trying out for the spring. We're full go here. So when you're in that uniform and you're in that lineup card, that is a moment for you to take what you've been working on and put it in the game. It's not a test to see if you are going to flunk or not for the spring. Every player comes back year to year, and they're better because of it. They have a level, at least 1 year of maturity underneath them, and then I'm expected for you to take the next step. You can see it in players like Aaron Lee. You can see it in players like, I've noticed Sarah Cook already, just a year under her belt. Some of those players that are just, as they come back, they're not starting over, they're starting where they left off, and that's the building process.
As you look through the rest, you still got a couple more weeks here of fall games, and of course still getting in preparation for ultimately the spring when you get there. What is the biggest challenge of kind of setting up your weeks of what you really want to preach versus then you get the in-game action to then kind of going in and out of that, of what you have found most successful, of just how you set that up for your group for being the most successful?
Yeah, I think we talked about it kind of like test driving a car, right? Like, we're going to test drive this 20-hour week, and this is kind of how it's going to feel. And if you think you're tired during this part, wait until you do this from January minicamp till hopefully late May. But you start to build some resilience of like, oh, this is not my club team back in high school. This is Division I. This is the real deal, and I have to be locked in day to day, because even sometimes that one day off is still a whole day in the training room or study hall or community service, something like that. So you can see, players really start to make that adjustment of like, okay, 6 days a week, I got to be able to turn the key to the right and be full go.
When you think of being able to host the conference tournament, of course, last time you hosted it, was able to make it a very memorable weekend in time. I know you didn't want to necessarily have to make it all the walk-offs that you had to have in that too. But the other side, Coach, so I do appreciate, and you are a huge part of this, is you take great pride in hosting. And really, when you do come and when you host, you push it to be, hey, this is not just a Valley Championship. This would be like if we were hosting a regional.
Yeah.
Not every school in the league really does that and takes enough pride. The importance of one being able to host, of course, the competition side, you get some home games. You'll have tremendous crowds, which is what this fan base does. Saluki
Right.
Nation does a great job of that. But of how more important it is, you also want to showcase the importance of running this thing and showing, hey, this is what the expectation should be whenever you host it.
Yeah, and I think I'm always going to vote for us. I mean, it's I think we do the best job. I do believe that. We've listened to the league. We've listened to the visitor experience and said, even if you're just coming here for the series, we want you to feel like we've given you a great opportunity, And I think in the league, it's a championship environment. We're going to come down to 6 teams now in the championship, and it's going to be very cutthroat. It's going to be double elimination, and we're going to go after each other and try to produce the best seed for the NCAA tournament. Hopefully that's us.
Yeah.
But I do credit our administration, our folks, our facilities, our marketing groups, our people that interact with the Valley. I mean, I'm telling you, we do the best job, and then throw in the fan base who will not only watch us play, they'll watch the league play at that point. I just think we understand how to host the championship. It comes from our years of hosting NCAAs at times and being a good host. So I'm excited about it. We're already in the prep. I mean, believe it or not, we started right after we were announced as the host, So, and it's a great problem to have, Hopefully you win the regular season and you continue to get the first bid and off we go. And I think, Charlotte West is up for some big upgrades, and we're going to have some surprises for folks as they come and visit this spring. So.
Full schedule for Coach Sewell and her squad is on the website as well. But St. Charles this weekend, St. Charles Community College will be a doubleheader starting at 1 o'clock. The weekend after, Parkland College. So after you're taking Saluki football at Saluki Stadium on the 4th, you can see them on Sunday, October 5th against Parkland and Illinois Central College. And then we get to the real schedule in the spring, which I know you're like, Luke, don't remind me. We need some time to still go through it.
Yeah.
But no, it's Coach Sewell. Really, what's so much fun around Nick and his program right now is, yes, the winning aspect obviously makes everything better, but it's when you're around teams when winning all of a sudden, like, that's not good enough. Like there's that drive of haven't accomplished anything yet. Like, to me, that's what's got to be exciting with your program and what you're working towards is we know the accomplishments that the program has, but we want more.
Yeah,
and I think that when you can get to that spot, man, it makes it really fun.
Yeah, and I think this, with the new portal situation, you're constantly going to be putting like 30 to 40% of your roster back together. Yeah. And that's a fun challenge that we've accepted. I think that was what I got out of last year is I enjoyed that process so much. I remember sitting there in September, October, and I looked at Lauren, I was like, I don't know, this may not be it. And, sometimes you just doubt it, and then you have those days, like 6 out of 7 days, where you're like, yeah, we're headed in the right direction. This is going to be a real, like, brotherhood, sisterhood type situation. And when teams catch fire is really, not just on the winning side, but when they start to really believe, those are teams that you want to watch play football, play soccer, play softball, play baseball. They can really get out there and win some games.
Well, we appreciate the time, and also thanks for being a good neighbor here behind the
No, we loved having you. I don't know what Lauren is doing. But.
No, and we may not want to from time to time. Head coach Jen Sewell join us. When we come back, we close out the show with Kelly Bond White here in the Wells Production Studio. This is Inside Saluki Athletics. Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Saluki Athletics. It's so great to welcome Coach Kelly Bond White to the show, her first time here in the Wells Production Center as we get ready for Saluki women's basketball. We know we're still in football mode right now as we're in the bye week, but it allows us to look ahead to what's going to be an exciting season in Banterra, and Coach Bond White here to talk about it all. Coach, thanks so much for the time. When I'm out on campus for my early morning walks, I've been seeing the boot camp style workouts that your program's been going through. How's that been going here over the last week or so?
Man, it's been awesome. We've had a young man, Sergeant OJ, with the Army National Reserve, come out and work us out in Small World. His mother, Tessa, goes to my church at Hopewell.
Wow.
So it's been awesome. He's fired up, our young ladies immediately, watching them fall under his command and in formation. They thought it was going to be a little easier than it was. But it was a great week, having them out there at 5:30 in the morning and going through every obstacle, hitting adversity, working together. It's everything that a coach is trying to build. So allowing him to work our morning boot camp sessions was awesome.
You mentioned the word adversity, and so many coaches always mention, hey, we don't know what type of team we're going to have until we go through that. And you understand there's going to be adversity in games, and that's hard to maybe mimic in practice sessions, but with the boot camp style workouts, all those type of things, how does that help you really get your team to push through adversity now? Because you don't want to necessarily wait once you see that once you're in the season.
Yeah, one of the things we were looking for when you bring in new people as well as a large amount of returners coming back, one of the things after going through what we did last year, you can lose your fire. And one of our pillars is passion, right? And so we wanted to create that adversity early so we could continue bonding them like we did through the summer. And for the most part, we had everybody here all summer. But we didn't want our young ladies to lose their fire. And that was something that we were going to demand from the beginning. No matter what adversity hits, you have to remain passionate about things. And I thought we lost that throughout the course, and that was something that starts with me, and it was something that I know the Army was going to have, but I wanted them to see it from a life or death standpoint. This young man has to motivate his troops, not for missing an assignment, not for not rotating, not for not being in the gap, but you lose a life with that. And he didn't hold back from that. And that's something that we've carried over as coaches, that it's critical. It's critical right now that every day has to start with a passion for each other.
As you start to get in season mode now, of course, you have a productive summer, and then when you get back on campus, there's even more time that you get with your team before you're in season. It doesn't feel probably like the old days where the first day of in-season practice, it's like, oh, everybody sees each other. Like, you've been hard at work for a long time. You talk about fire. What's impressed you about the fire that you've seen from the summer to the early fall, and now as you get into in-season mode, how would you describe that fire within your group?
You know what? I would honestly say the humility that our young ladies have had to be coached before even I step in, to be coached by one another, to understand the discipline, to understand the raising of the bar. And one young lady that's come in, India Green, she's a transfer that's been in the Missouri Valley, that wasn't allowed to practice, still had to graduate from Georgia Southern there. And so she was kind of watching this summer until she got cleared to play. But she has a voice. She has a voice that some could take, either way. But what I was most impressed with, as she used that voice and others connected with her in a leadership role, our kids were receptive. And so when you ask, like, how does that happen? You like, day one, we had an actual graduation yesterday where they actually got their practice gear for the first time moving into in-season, right? And it's like, congratulations, you made it to 20 hours versus 8. And they were like, thanks, Coach. But like you said, there is no more. It is year-round now. And so for our young ladies, the fire that we see is them holding each other accountable. I think that's the biggest thing.
To say what to expect from India, even though this summer she wasn't able to practice, we've seen her in the league at Missouri State. So you have really great tape to look at and know what to expect. As she starts integrating with your team, what are you most excited to see from her? Not just her leadership voice that you just touched up on, but what she can do also from a basketball standpoint to help you win games.
Well, from a basketball standpoint, I remember we had them. We had them at the buzzer. We ended up losing by 3 because we just couldn't block her out. So everybody in the league knows that's coming. You got to find a way to try to put a body on her, and she's relentless on the boards. But what I love is she's become my secondary quarterback, right? And so we got point guards that we're developing, but playing through her in that high post area, knowing that she can take you down low. But her vision has been excellent, just as we've gotten into our early offense of showing what we're developing and moving more into. And I told our young ladies, we're moving more into a read and react, but that establishes trust on my end. I got to trust you to be able to make the right reads through that, and that's been awesome. Having a kid like Kayla, come out. Kayla Cooper's another one.
Yeah.
But really, Elena Krause, our kids call her AK, right down the road in Oakville. Those 3 early on, or 4 early on, have been really, really good at making reads throughout the offense and connecting with each other.
Look, coaches connect all the time when you go out and recruit and you're looking for players to be able to come into your program. And whenever there is a consensus, you were telling this story to some fans back, I believe, on the Meet the Team night. So many coaches said, you got a good one in AK.
Yeah.
That's got to make you feel good. When you go out, you meet with other coaches, and they say, we really wanted her.
Yeah.
And the fact that you got her is a huge testament to you and your staff and the program of wanting to get this thing in the right direction as you start this year.
Yeah, she's a kid that you watch on film. When you go back to the film at night of practice and you're watching it, and all of a sudden you're looking at the stats and you're like, oh man, I got to get this kid the ball more, because she's not going to do anything just fancy. All right. She's consistent and she's steady. She knows that mid-range game is there. Hey, defense goes over. I'm going to shoot this 3 off a rotation. I'm going to get it to the hole. I'm going to make the dish. I'm going to get deflections. I'm long. I'm athletic. And you might not notice her every day, but when you get back to that stat sheet and when you look at it, that's what her teammates are recognizing about her, is her consistency. So, yeah, we're thrilled to have her.
Of course, you brought in those newcomers that we've talked about. It's always important, though, to have ladies part of your program that have been with you, that also make strides. The group that is coming back, what's impressed you from that group of strides they have made this offseason, and you're really excited for people like me and for the fans to see them once the season starts in Banterra?
Without question, Janiyah. Janiyah has been freed. She's released, and when you have an opportunity where you weren't sure if you were going to get that, and then you get that extra year back after government rules and everything like that, the kid has just been, again, fire is the word that we're using in our program, and she's making the right reads. She's knocking down the shots. Karis Allen is another young lady that the crowd hasn't had a chance to see yet because she's been injured. She's been released to do some things consistent, another consistent threat from the high post, another high IQ young lady, Angela Samuel. I'd be remiss not to talk about her, battling through injuries. But, man, I haven't seen it yet on the floor, but how she's competing, getting back in shape, and really just turn that hurdle of, okay, the injury is behind me. I'm ready full throttle to go. Her energy has been contagious. And then TT. TT is a kid that I want more and more every day. She's consistent. She does everything that we ask her to do, but I feel like this is a year for her, and I've used examples of people in our league that have been downhill players, that have been defense first players, that have still been impactful. So that's a young lady I'm pushing hard every day, and she's looking at me like, Coach, I'm good, yeah, TT, but I want more. There's more of you, that you can give. So I'm excited. I've mentioned Kayla, already. That's been consistent for us, but I'm excited about our young ladies.
Still waiting on the league schedule, but able to get your non-conference schedule out. What do you like, at least the way in terms of your non-conference does lay out? And I know it is a difficult thing to do. It's hard to find games really for anybody at any level, but how would you say that, hey, I do like the challenges that are in front of us that can help us get us prepared for the Missouri Valley Conference Gauntlet?
And that's all it's about. That's all it's about, is getting challenges, looking for teams that matched up and play similarly to some teams that we're going to see in conference. Got some regional rivals on there, bringing some people in that we haven't played in a while, but all of it. Style of play, you're going to see everything from people that want to play fast, up-tempo, on the line, up the line, to people that are in a zone continuously or in a gap. And then we get into some tournaments where we'll get some power fours on some neutral court, and then head over to another regional rival in Missouri in a first-year, not a first-year head coach, but a first-year coach there in that league. And so we're excited. We're excited, but we understand the challenge that it is, and with today being day one for us in practice, they're reminding each other of that. But we're just present right now, being where our feet are and controlling the day.
You talk about being present and being where your feet are at. I think it's a great example. You think of the type of gifts that have been given to Saluki Athletics recently, the $4.5 million gift to just women's athletics as a whole, and then your program being able to get just a recent $3 million gift to women's basketball. What that means in terms of when you meet with your young ladies of, look, there's a lot of people here that truly care about the program, that care about the trajectory of it and the success of it, and that helps them remind, hey, remember where your feet are at, because there's a lot of people here that want to support you and see you succeed.
You know what, for sure. And Craig's last gift, our young ladies know him. They've seen him in the stands with his brother up there and the sacrifices that him and his family have made and continue to make. And so that's an accountability piece to that, where what I'm asking you to bring each and every day has nothing to do with skill. Forget the skill component of it. It's the passion, the fire that we want you to play with, that what this place is known for, whether we hang on to the moniker or not. That Floorborn U means something, because I grew up watching that. We grew up, this is how this program was built. And so there's a responsibility just by putting that of Salukis across your chest, just by representing SIU. And that's the next thing. That was the most important thing, of getting people that wanted to represent the Missouri Valley, that understood what this conference was as one of the best conferences. Forget a title in front of it, but one of the best conferences for basketball in the country. We wanted people that meant something to. We're still recruiting people that meant something to, but we wanted people that wanted to represent SIU.
Your team does a really good job in terms of community service and getting out and engaging with the fans, and our fans really get the opportunity to know them. For those that haven't had a chance to get to know them, what do you want to tell them as someone who sees them every day, who practices with them, who coaches them every day, of what it would mean to them, one, to come out and support them this year, but what they will really like about the ladies that are in your program when they get the opportunity to be able to meet them and support them?
You're going to see great ambassadors for this area. You're going to see young ladies that truly love each other, and that needs to be seen. You're going to see young ladies with diverse backgrounds that understand what they're representing. Where the little young boys in the crowd, the little girls in the crowd, they want to run up to them, they're going to dance with them. But just on the other end of that, our elders that come out and support us, that are really our demographic for women's basketball, those are our true longtime supporters. Our young ladies are out there dancing with them, getting to know them, and they're going to see a product that's going to sell out for Southern Illinois. And I mean that in the best possible way. Give everything that they possibly have, because nothing else controls the fire within inside of us. It's our choice to go out there and represent.
As you get closer, again, November 3rd is going to be here in a blink of an eye in early November when you start this thing. What do you go as you get closer to the season? Man, this really excites me about our group. I think this could be a really good strength of our team this year.
You know what? We're going defense first. Defense first. And I told them, hey, you all got beautiful strokes. You shoot the ball extremely well. But what happens on nights when that ball doesn't go in? When we did our stats throughout the summer, we had a ton of uncontested shots that we just didn't knock down. So you know what? It starts with the way we talk about it is key, free, and three. We're going to try to get into that paint. We're going to get to that free throw line, and then we're going to look to knock it down early. But when you look at this group, those percentages have to go up where we control higher ends. And how do you get that? How do you get to the key? How do you get to the free throw line? It starts on the defensive end. When we led this conference in steals, we got 20 points off of our defense. And we need those kind of buckets, those easier buckets, to get us back in being competitive into one of the top 3, top 4 offensive teams in this conference.
It will be here before we know it. In a blink of an eye, in early November, we'll be back inside Banterra to see Saluki women's basketball. Coach, we appreciate the time stopping on by, and like I said, enjoy the next month. I know you're probably like, we still need maybe a few more practices, even more than that. But
for sure. And one thing that I want to point out is we don't have to wait to December. That elementary school game is our very first game, and those young kids are going to be in there rocking and rolling, and I love that for our kids. I want them to see that crowd early so they can get used to hearing those screams. But hey, bring your earplugs, take some Tylenol, because they're going to be in here screaming.
For Saluki Nation who haven't been able to watch it or listen to it on the radio, you can also obviously hear the kids constantly throughout. It is an awesome environment, and it's great for it's so great for your young athletes to be able to go into that type of environment, to play in front of them. But as you say all the time, and throughout all the teams here, the fact that you are role models for so many of them, like, they love being able to get into that arena and then be able to cheer for them.
For sure.
It's an awesome time. Coach, thanks so much for the time.
Thanks, Luke.
Once again, that was Kelly Bond White. That does it for Inside Saluki Athletics this week. Jam-packed show from Scott Nagy to Jen Sewell to Lance Rhodes and Coach Kelly Bond White. Join us. We will talk to you again next week, Saluki Nation. Go Dogs.